Steve Jobs said, "Innovation is the only way to win." Welcome to Genius Innovators, an inspirational show about ideas, creativity, and strategies to help innovators and entrepreneurs aspire to be their best. Welcome to Tony Fitzgerald's Masterclass podcast.
Hi everyone, Tony Fitzgerald here for the new show, which is called Genius Innovators, and I'm really happy to have one of my old buddies in here in the studio today. He's going to talk about his invention, which is called Bedleveller. So, g'day, mate.
Hey, Tony.
So thanks for coming in.
No problem at all, mate. Thanks for the bait, mate. Yeah,
that's right.
Exciting.
Yeah. So what we're going to do, you viewers, is just talk about his invention, which is called Bedleveller, and I'll let him explain what it is, the product. But I've helped him over the last 12 months to, business coach him, and also, help him in some areas, get his website established so he gets a presence online. And we're just going to talk about, that flash of genius moment when he came up with the idea, and then just talk about the journey to date to get his product to market. So we're just interviewing genius innovators who, have created a product or created a service or created something, and they've brought it to reality and in a commercial sense, and monetizing it and making money from it. So, mate, when did that flash of genius moment come up that you conceived this idea about Bedleveller?
Yeah, it was funny, really. Like, it's nearly 3 years ago now that I came up with it. I didn't really come up with the idea. The idea hit me. I got asked to do a heritage job out between Wellington and Mudgee in Central West New South Wales for this old mate, the farmer. Like, he was been Australian Farm of the Year for 2 years running, and all this, he's a real innovator in the sheep and in the wool industry. He had an old homestead on the place, and they'd come across a few dollars, and they had wanted this extension to be done exactly the same as the blocks on the original homestead, about 113 years old it was, I'm pretty sure. So they had the original mould on the place, so they got the blocks specially made by a block manufacturer in Sydney. They're all precise, 2 millimetre, beautiful stone blocks. They couldn't be touched with acid or any other cleaning areas. They didn't have frog or an extrusion in them, as bricks or most bricks and blocks do. So they were solid, and I've gone out and had a look at the job with a builder mate that was doing the job, and I'm scratching my head on the way back to town thinking, how am I going to lay these? At the time, about 33 years bricklaying experience, and another challenge came at me, and on the way back I thought, I'll make a screed. So when I started the Bunnings when I got back, and I made one, so screwed some together, and I took it out there, put it on the wall, and that was the first one. So that one worked, the whole job, and it came up special. It came up really special. I thought, geez, I wonder if anyone else has ever, I've never seen this, I've never heard of it, it's out there. So, yeah.
What did you identify then? You identified an unmet need, or what was it that you sort of clicked on that, maybe there's got some potential in this idea that you've got?
Well, it had a potential for that first job, absolutely, in the way that I used it, because the blocks didn't need cleaning, so there was no staining of it. Like, the quality of the block work, it was just like a picture, really, because what the first Bedleveller did, although it was very different to the one we've got now. It was a very basic prototype, so that it allowed enough mortar just to come out the front of the block, because the original block work looked as though it was almost tuck pointed. So the joint was protruding out a little bit, so I've got what they call a Dutch tool or a Dutch iron, and I just polished that mortar, and it just came up a picture, and I thought, wow, there's no way in the world you can do that with, I don't care how good a bricklayer you are, you're never going to go and come up with that finish on that block work, and I thought, it's a lot slower for the tradesman to use it, but the quality finish was outstanding for my eye.
So for our listeners, what is the Bedleveller? Like, what was it called originally?
Well, I came up with the word Bedleveller, and I called it Bedleveller. So,
great invention for a name.
It's painted as a bricklaying tool. So that's because you can't obviously make a word up and drop it in the patents office. They're going to sort of scratch their heads and sort of,
So what is this?
Well, you don't want to ask them too many questions, you just want to try and slip that one through if you can,
So what is the Bedleveller?
The Bedleveller,
like in its current form and shape today, just so our viewers and listeners can get an idea of the concept of the Bedleveller.
It's a tool probably a tool, that's probably the best way to do it. You sit on top of a brick or a block wall, there's 4 different ones at the moment, and you fill it full of mortar, and then you screen it off with your trowel, and you lift it up, and it leaves the perfect bed, ready for anyone to be able to lay a brick or a block on.
Yeah.
It's got a 2.3 mil camber at the moment. To allow for a little bit of excretion of mortar to come out the face, and no mortar will drop down the back into the cavities. So you've got a full joint every time. You've got absolutely no wastage. The cleanliness of the walls and of the products, and also the ease of the handyman to lay bricks or blocks.
Yeah. Okay. So for the listeners and the viewers that don't understand bricklaying, because you may not have done it before, or you may not have seen it before. When you lay that first bed of bricks, then you've got to put another layer on top, and what you have to do as a bricklayer, or if you're building a fence or a wall at your home, you have to then, on top of the bricks that you've laid, you have to lay a bed of cement across the top and then put the bricks on top. But what this tool does, the Bedleveller, helps you lay the perfect bed every time. So it's a device where you actually put it on top of the bricks. You put your mortar in, you swish it across, and you lift it up, and it has this perfect bed, and then you put the bricks on top. If you want to get a better visual, go to Bedleveller, that's bedleveller.com.au, isn't it?
No, it's just
.com. And there's a video on the homepage which will show you how the product works. So, all right, so you've come up with the idea from what you've just said. So what happened next?
Well, it was the last job I was going to do in this area, and I was going to go travel. I've got a 79 retro van, and I thought, I'm a bit of a traveller, so I thought, I'll go across to Perth. I've got a mate over there. And so as I was driving along, when I finished this job out there, it just stayed in your head, you're doing the long K's out through Broken Hill, and it's in your head. So I pulled up the Nullarbor Roadhouse right on the Nullarbor plain there, and all these whales were in the head of the bite. So I stayed there for about a week doing research.
Cool.
You just do research underneath this trail on the Nullarbor. It's quite good because there was a bit of rain on the Nullarbor at the time. And
the whales are a bit of therapy.
Yeah, and it's just, back a few beers and then go down to the head of the bite and have a look at it, and then come back and do some more research. And I didn't really know how to research or what I was doing then, but there was just this idea in my head that was annoying. It wasn't annoying me, it was exciting me, really. And
so what was that idea in your head? What were you trying to work out?
I was trying to work out if this idea was out there anyway in a commercial sense.
Yeah. So it's amazing, like 35 years as a brickie, and then all of a sudden, you just find that you've got this idea about a product that can, help people lay bricks perfectly and a lot easier, and then the process all started from there.
Yep.
Okay, so then what happened after all that massive thinking with the whales and stuff like that? What happened next?
I hooked the caravan up, and I got myself to Perth, and there was this mob in Perth, design engineer mob in Perth. I won't mention their names. They were advertising on the radio over there if you've got an idea, come and see us. So I went in and seen these design engineers, and then I told them about my idea with signed paperwork and all that sort of stuff. And
were they lawyers or were they?
No, he introduced me to a patent attorney. Once we came up with the concept, then I got introduced to a patent attorney.
Yeah. So that company, that you don't have to mention them, but when they said, "Have you got an idea? Come to us." What sort of company were they?
Design engineers.
They were
designers.
Yeah. Okay.
So they designed a lot of plastic stuff. They designed a whole lot of stuff. They designed over the years. South African based companies.
Yeah. So just for you listeners out there, product design companies are always looking for ideas. Not so much in Australia, but in America, you've got what they call product scouts. So look, I'm a product scout. I'm becoming a product scout in Australia, and I'm just about to go on a tour around Australia with this Genius Innovators idea and look for people that have got ideas. So then what I would do then is introduce the idea to this product development company, and then we'd start looking at the process of whether or not this actual product can come to life and be commercialised and monetised. So, so you responded to this advert. How did you find the advert? In the paper or on the radio?
On the radio.
So it was on the radio saying, hey, if you've got an idea, come to us. And then when you went to this product company, then they introduced you to what happened in the process from there?
Yeah. Yeah, I went in and had the first meeting, and he thought the idea had traction, because when you've got an idea, it's a very lonely world, because you can't say too much to too many people. So it does get very annoying in your own head, and they do annoy you. And you've got to be ready. If you've got an idea, you've got to be ready for it to annoy you.
Yeah.
And if it annoys you, it's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
So they introduced me to, once they come up with an idea, then they introduced me to a patent attorney. So a patent attorney came in, and they said, you can't patent it to shape.
Mm.
So it wasn't patentable. But then I said, well,
really?
Yeah, because I advised, because then it was just rectangular. It didn't have the member down the middle, and I suggested, why don't you put a furrow down the middle of it?
Yeah.
Which is furrow is a triangular section that a farmer uses in his products, or a bricklayer uses when he's furrowing his mortar.
Yeah.
And they got excited, so you got a patent. I go, wow, what's that mean?
Yeah.
Because I didn't sort of go out to find
you didn't know what a patent was?
I knew what a patent was, but I didn't understand the enormity and the scale of a patent, and what the worth of it is, or what. I still don't know that, really. It's a very crazy world.
Yeah, it is. It's quite
intellectual property,
expansive, and quite in depth and whatever. And there's many ways to patent a product and all that sort of stuff. Okay.
So when I was over there, then what happened then is these designers went to work and started designing. He had a team of about 4 or 5 designers working on it. It cost me quite a bit of money. You know, you can't have all these wacky ideas, mate. I'll just pull them up and say, no way, none of this is anywhere near it. You're thinking too far outside, you know.
So let's go back to that. When the design company sat down with you at the table, what was their process to determine whether or not your idea was a potential winner for them? How did they synthesize that and go, bang, we're onto something hot here? What did they do? Did they take you through a process of questioning?
Absolutely. Like on the same process of, and I've still got the paperwork is that thick,
Wow.
all these design drawings that, they give me conceptual drawings. Then I said, no, that's no good, that's no good, that's no good. And I sent them back to the drawing board. And in the end, the one they came up with is nowhere near, there's probably nothing like the one we've got now even.
Yeah, so it's evolved to something completely...
The prototype is going to cost nearly 4,000 Australian dollars for one prototype you made in China.
Now let's go back to that moment. What were their charges all that? What was their service? What were they offering on the table to you at that moment of time?
They were trying to... I'm not sort of sure, because I was very amateur at that and I believe I've got ripped, but if you don't get ripped playing this game, you're not playing, you get ripped, and be expected to get ripped or feel as though you've been ripped, because that's part of the go, I believe. They just supplied a whole heap of paperwork, like all the drop tests, all the tests that you need to be put in warehouses, all the components for mass manufacture in China, all the drawings, all the shipping stuff, the whole lot. Like they tried to offer a whole bundle, but it was never going to work. It was just going to be too expensive to get made in China, and also I didn't want to lose it into China. I heard a lot of stuff about China, and I didn't really trust these people in the end, so I had to break that relationship off. So a good learning curve, over a period of probably 3 months. Like I was over there giving a mate a hand. I was landscaping his backyard, so he had a couple of young sons, and there was another lady up the road. So I was trialling these prototypes in the backyard by getting people off the streets, like getting their mates around, and I was seeing kids, 8, 9 years of age, laying bricks, and they'd never picked up a trowel or seen it before. So I knew it was going to work at that early stage. The thing was then just how to monetize it, how to convert it.
Yeah, how to convert it. So what did they charge you, if you don't mind me asking back then?
I think going back, it's in the vicinity of $12,000 to $13,000. I spent on designers in WA.
Yeah.
And patent attorney fees to get it all patented and all that was in the vicinity of, I think, $5,500 to $6,000.
So you started the patent process over in Perth?
Absolutely, yep.
So that's still with that company?
No.
No, so so we'll talk about that. So you started the whole process off, and then, if I'm hearing you correctly, you ditched that product company and said, look, I'm moving on because of whatever reason. What did you feel, that they were just...
Yeah, well, I thought
pissing in your pocket or ripping you off?
Yeah, probably both of them, but also I'm trying to probably come back to people I trusted, like in WA. Like, I don't mind Perth, but it's just too windy and it's a pretty remote sort of place, So I came back this side, and I probably lost. This isn't going to work.
Yeah. Oh, so you got to a point where you thought,
a few times.
you know,
A few times.
this is not going to work, and
A few times, absolutely.
I'm going to move on.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Why did you think that?
Well, I just couldn't see any way of getting it there, you know, if not having a whole lot of money behind me, and it can cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
And also ideas, I was looking for ideas, and also you get very tired with it. It does annoy you, because you've only a couple of people you can talk to. You've got to be very secretive about it once you've got a patent, because you can't go out there too far. So it does make you very tired, and sometimes you just got to put it in the corner and let it behave itself for a while, and it'll come back out if it needs to, you know. So you came out, and I think it was just after that time.
It's like a lion, isn't it? Sometimes you've got to tame the lion, and when it roars, so you've got to get it back in the cage and give it a feed, and spend some mindfulness time, and then draw it back up again. And So the patent, what happened in the process of the patent? Obviously, some lawyer company over in Perth started the whole process, and then how did you manage to transition it to another patent lawyer? How did you find? I know we had talks about that, but
that's right.
What was the company? I can't remember what the company was, but when did it transition to the next patent lawyers? And
well, the first time I had the patent pending. So
patent pending.
Yeah, there's 4 or 5 different types of patent systems in Australia, which is a bit different to America, where I wrote my own patent in the States. So you had a patent pending, so it was just sitting there quiet, and no one can see the patent. So it's not open for IP Australia to have a look at. It's just sitting there. So you can sit it there, and you can renew it in Australia every 12 months. Hopefully lawyers want to commercialise it to pay for the next stage of the patent process.
So that's not a provisional patent, that's what was that patent, can you remember?
I can't remember exactly what they call it in Australia. Provisional patent, PPA is the American term.
Yeah, that's the American term. And that basically, I think it's a PPA, isn't it? Provisional patent.
Application, PPA in the States.
You can submit that by memory, and then you've got 12 months to then take it to the next level of the patency process, but it does give you some form of protection. But it's in America, but it just comes back to your product, whether or not you want to patent the product in Australia or whether you want to go global. So yours is in Australia, and it's in the PPA in America. All right, okay. So then what happened next with the how did you find the next patent attorney?
Well, as it went down the line, it became almost to the stage it is now, where it became, I was able to find a way to manufacture it here, to have the whole lot of it along the trail. I've got a business partner in, my brother, 25%, and then we went across, so we've got a standard patent on the product now. So we went to the next phase, and with advice from patent attorneys, I went down and door knocked 3 or 4, like you suggested, Tony. Went down and got free information off them by just making an appointment for an hour to go in and see a patent attorney. So you knock down a few doors in Sydney just to get your own understanding, like
increase your education as well.
Commercialisation, slipstream experts, and all these other people. You can get free information out there, and it's quite valuable, I found in the end. And so we ended up getting onto a patent attorney, got his advice, and we didn't have to. We had to have the new standard patent application in before the last one terminated. So that one overrode it. So we got in 4 days before the other one went out, and then we banged that one in, and that took ownership. You don't have to even talk to the last patent attorney about it. That's just part of the go.
So was it
no correspondence between them.
Do you think it was a hard process to understand, or it became easier?
They use a lot of very big words, and you've got a dictionary out next to you when you're reading a patent to even understand your own product. Like when patent attorneys write a patent, you need a dictionary next to you to understand what they're saying.
Just an example, what were some of the things, or one thing that sort of like, you thought, well, okay, you're saying this, so what does that mean?
Just their explanation of geometry when they use words like coplanar, for instance. And coplanar. So you've got coplanar levels, like the Bedleveller's coplanar on one surface, but it's not coplanar on the bottom.
What does coplanar mean?
It means that you've got certain members that are all on a one level across one plane. So the Bedleveller, for instance, has got this coplanar on the top of the 3 members going down it. But on the bottom, it's not coplanar because you've got 12.7 mil as against 10 mil, so it doesn't pivot on a rougher product. So co-planner is 3 members or any amount of members. So then you're using, and there's a lot of other words. I'll have to pull them back out to think of them all now. But then you've got to learn how to read it, because it's quite big. It could be 20 pages long.
Yeah. We've got somebody knocking on the door here. Just bear with us. We're doing this interview at home. We've got somebody that just knocked on the door. Anyway, we'll just keep going with the interview. All right, so I suppose, registering a patent, you've got to be so specific and drill down into the details of every facet of the product to make sure that it's all written into the patent so that, you're fully protected. Am I right saying that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
So I've never been down the patent road, but I've had discussions about it, and I'm learning a lot through just, being on the journey with you over the last 12 months.
Yeah,
so, So that was one thing. All right. So, so where's the patent today? Is it in? You've got protection?
Yeah, I've got protection. You've got a registered design.
Registered design.
Trademark.
Yep.
Yeah. So we've gone through all that process now. And it's just a matter of time. It's a very time-consuming system. It can take them years to even determine a patent.
Yeah.
Once it gets tied up in these IP and USPTO sort of channels.
So when you make an improvement on, how many different versions of the Bedleveller has the product gone through to today in the current day?
Well, we're still running off the same. We're still running off the same patent attorney words. We've just a couple of little extras put into it as we add appendices to it.
Yeah.
So you have to go to your patent attorneys and follow us, because it's not so much a patent, I don't believe, is about the shape of it. It's more about the purpose of the product.
Purpose of the product.
Yeah.
Right.
So it gets quite technical when you're, I think a patent attorney's got to have 3 degrees and then they go and do a bit of law.
Yeah.
So they're very educated, highly educated people. Yeah. They're very difficult to understand from a bricklayer's sort of point of view,
Okay. So, all right. So your patents, being put in, it's giving you that protection. I know that we chatted about licensing, and for those that are watching, when you create a product, you've got 2 paths that you can go down. One is that you can go down the path of manufacturing, like creating the prototype, manufacturing it, then working out the distribution, then working out the marketing and doing everything yourself. Or what you can do is go down the other path where if you've got the idea for your product, then you just go to a company and you rent your idea out to them, and then basically they create the prototype based on your design concept and idea, and then they manufacture it and they distribute it and they market it for you. Then you do a licensing arrangement with them where you can get an upfront amount of money from them based on future projections over so many years, and then you can get a royalty paid to you every quarter or every 6 months, and then you just sit back and you rent your idea out to the company and you make money from that. So I know that we, through the coaching, explored that path and you went down that path. So let's explain that path of looking at the possibility of, licensing it.
Yeah, cool.
So what happened then? I think I said to you that.
We touched base and back into each other somewhere along the track. I can't remember exactly how we touched base. You might have been Facebook or something.
Yeah, probably.
Anyway.
Good old Facebook.
Now, you suggested to me, because I told you about the idea, and you suggested I get on to Stephen Keys and in the United States. And for Stephen Keys, he's got a company over there for a bloke by the name of Andrew Krause called Inventor.
Yep.
Stephen Keys is a bit of a guru in the States on licensing, and Andrew Krause, he's the president of Inventor Society in Silicon Valley. So
right.
I got a coach by the name of David Federer.
Yeah.
He was based up in Michigan. So I was doing webinars every week. They have an hourly webinar every week, and then you got your own personal coach. You read their book, 10 steps to bring your idea to market.
Yeah, it's called One Simple Idea. It was written by Stephen Keys.
Yep.
A great book. I suggest everybody read it from another perspective, from an American that's very talented in this area. And Steve and myself frequently, on Facebook, on Skype, have a few connections. But okay, so you're connected with them and you invested in their course, and we started to learn the whole thing about licensing.
Yep.
And then, so what happened then? How did that open your world to licensing, and what happened then? What happened next?
What that taught me to do was to research, because you had to research similar products that you've got. And they teach you how to research, so you can research with the access you've got now with the www, you know, you can just sit there and research. And when I researched in the States, my idea wasn't in the States either. So I've gone, wow.
Wow.
So
Big market.
Yeah, it's good. I'll live in the States.
That's where you go, hello.
So
opportunity.
I started research, and then you've got to get into the companies that own the products. And then you'd research, right, you might go to Stanley, right, so we had a look at Stanley tools. The maximum they'll pay you for an idea on licensing agreement is $5,000 US. Red pen them, screw them up, put them in the bin, no good. So you go through them, and you've got to, I came down to about 5 companies, they're all over $90 US on the US stock exchange. That then start ringing them up on Skype and trying to get into someone in there to take your idea with a secret link back to your YouTube channel with a sell video. They had a sell video made up, and it was right to go. I've got a couple of viewings over there, and they've got really technical for me, because I've never been to the States, and you could probably only expect about 4% of manufacture. So if they mass produced it in China, and you're getting 4% at the back end of it, the money wasn't real big for me. And I was getting a bit cold feet about it, you know, it was getting a bit big for me. I was starting to lose control of it in my own confidence. So then I sort of pulled my head in a bit, and I thought, well, I've good education. You know, and then, so I put it back in the corner again. So I stayed over there a bit. Like that line was stuck in.
Get the line and put it back in the corner.
So I sort of got back into it and tried to get your head back into bricklaying, you know, get a real job instead of dreaming about an idea. And trying to commercialise it.
That's an interesting thing, and a lot of people will struggle about, you know, maintaining your real job that's going to bring in an income, and then you've got your idea, and you're moonlighting your idea with these great dreams that one day you're going to become a multi-millionaire or billionaire, and you're going down two paths, and it can become quite, you know, daunting, and a lot of anxiety and a lot of sleepless nights, and wrestling the big gorilla in your mind about which way to go. So exactly. I face that every day. So anyway, it's cool. So what happened next?
Well, I was in the corner again, and I didn't know what was going to happen with it. You know, I didn't know what was going to happen with it, and then I had a couple of tough months. You know, my hand collapsed, so I'm able to lay bricks again into it if I get an operation and stuff like that. You know, so I can lay bricks. I can't do it as a full-time job anymore. And then I got offered a job in Sydney in the western suburbs to train bricklaying and also supervise a new government initiative work for the
So education and the training, that's a great, you know,
it's good.
Shift to still, you know, being part of the profession of bricklaying, but you know, instead of laying bricks, moving to education. So
which was a
trainer.
Which was a real godsend in the end, because I was networking with completely different lot of people I never knew before or met before, and I pulled the Bedleveller out. So I said the prototypes, and this place said, I know a really good manufacturing firm across the Emu Plains called Opie. Opie Manufacturing. And I've got about 60 or 70 people work over there with the latest laser cutting technology. So I went over there and had a meeting with the MD and then the head designer, and all of a sudden, bang, it's happening. Well, we can make this happen, and their computers and the gear they got over there is amazing. And that really opened up my mind a lot more as to the possibilities of what we could do with the Bedleveller. Once I understood the manufacturing side of it. Quite expensive at the moment because of the numbers we're doing. But it's, you know, it's a very strong product. You know, it's very well made with the latest technology available. Like there's only one of two machines in Australia at the moment that goes through.
Well, for our listeners, what Graham's saying here is that he made a conscious choice to go down the path of, you know, manufacturing his product instead of choosing the licensing path, which is it's an attractive path, but you can, you know, understand why, you know, inventors and innovators, you know, at some point go, well, you know, I'm going to go down that path, or I'm going to completely go down this path. And the path that Grahame went down was to have full control, get his product made here by Opie, And, that's the process that he went down. So this is what he's explaining now. So OB, they created, the first product,
Yeah, the first prototype. I think we've had three or four prototype runs through there now.
Yeah.
And also into the manufacturing now where, it's just a matter of ring them up and they hit the buttons. It's just all sitting there. It's all computerised and ready to go. So what we can do now is we can make, say you want to go to the American market, we can go to the American market by just 5 minutes with the designer, just pull it in, pull it out, shift it round, and we can make them any size to fit any square masonry product.
Yeah. So the product at the moment is only made for the Australian market, yeah?
That's correct, 90mm, 110mm, and also concrete blocks.
So when you evolve it to fit the American market, do you have to change your patent?
No, with the patent in the States, that will cover it.
They'll cover it as well?
Yep.
Okay.
The patent in the States, yep.
All right. So just say you get an order, today, bedleveller.com is up. You can go on there and buy the product today. There's 4 different versions. So if you know any bricky people out there, tell them to go to bedleveller.com and they can buy it there. If you're a home handy person that's building a barbecue or a fence or whatever, it's an easy product to do. Look at all the videos. There's educational videos online, and you'll get a gist of how, the product works. So it's available for sale today. So to anybody in Australia. So if you had an order come in, like just recently he got his first order, which was good, mate. Way to go. You've got the order through. Explain your first order there with the I think it was the Catholic school.
The Catholic Training Centre at Emu Plains, the Western Suburbs of Sydney. I was doing a bit of training out there, and the principal and the students, obviously I was getting the students to use the prototypes to see if they were working, and they were working, and the schools got really behind me, and the education and the manufacturers just around the corner. So that's really the birthplace of it, I'd say, is around the Penrith Emu Plains area, is where it was sort of coming out from there,
So when that order came in, that 4, then do you ring up Opie and say, you've got to create 4?
No. We've already got them made.
You've got them made.
Yeah, that's already made. Because the machine it goes through, there's 20. You've got to have 20 pairs per run.
Right.
That's the minimum they'll do for us.
All right. So when they do a run, you've got 20. So you've basically got 20 there now, ready to sell.
They're ready to go. Yeah.
Right, okay.
And also the etching's all been done. And,
Yeah. Okay. So so as soon as they ordered that 4, you just basically posted it out to them or dropped them off physically.
I've been down and dropped them off. Physically. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yep.
So that was the first order. The first order of many millions more to come.
Yeah, like I don't mind. Like if you get an order and say you've got a bunch of people to give and they want 5 or 6, you go down and give them a hand. And it's a lot easier to give tips to people when it comes to bricklaying face to face.
Yeah.
And if I'm in the area and people want a bit of a hand, I'll sit around and give them a hand a few tips, for a barbie and a beer,
That's right, yeah, barbie and a beer.
Barbie, beer, bricks,
You can build their bloody barbie.
No, you can build their own.
You can watch them and get the Bedleveller and they build their barbie on the spot, and then you come back the next weekend and have a barbecue and beers and celebrate the Bedleveller.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So, so let's talk about, marketing. Obviously, another company that I've got is Big Digital Communications, and we built the website, and he invested in getting a visibility in your website, and that's up now. It's only just been put up, and so it's going to start to get traction and visibility out there. So tell me about, so you've gone through the patent process, you've gone through the manufacturing, you found a company to do it here in Australia. Let's touch base on this. Why Australia compared to China?
Oh, it's just security.
What is it for you? Yeah.
It's just, I think, security and keeping grip on it.
Yeah.
And also a cost. If you don't know how the China works and all the rest of it can be very expensive.
Yeah.
You need your inner boxes, you need your outer boxes, you've got importing going on, you've got mass production, maybe 40% coming up the front door to me, 6% going out the back door.
Yeah.
You hear all sorts of really no good yarns about it.
You don't know whether or not they're ripping off your product over there and they're selling it now through China, which is, you hear these horror stories in China, but okay. So.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
But you never say never, you know, like it might be down the track as you learn the manufacturing, but it's pretty cool to see your own product being manufactured right before your very eyes. It's
supporting, Australian companies,
Australian companies,
Aussie jobs as well. Like,
sure.
Malcolm Turnbull should learn about, the submarine contract and going off to Spain or whatever I read yesterday. That annoyed me. You pretty much, I just don't see why not we cannot make the submarines or anything in Australia and create jobs. And when we're in a year of innovation and startups and all that sort of stuff and big ideas, like, why are we giving it and all our stuff out to other places around the world? It's beyond belief. But anyway, don't get me on that. I'll get all upset.
Yeah, I'll be good with it.
Yeah. So, well, that's good, mate. So you keep it here with Opie and they're manufacturing it, and that's the stage. So let's talk about the marketing. So now, how do you get this product out there in the market, and what are you doing to get it out there and so people can see it?
Yeah. Well, what I've done, I've recently got a couple of thousand flyers made up where I'm going to I'm just starting to drop them around to Australian native landscapes, drop them into brickyards, having meeting with brick companies next week in Sydney. So it's a win-win situation for the brick companies as well. So it's a matter of just getting it out there, getting the idea there, because the majority of places I go, I get a positive about the idea. So, you're not scared, you're not worried about taking your idea out there, because sometimes in the early days you think, am I losing crackers here, or am I losing it, or because you're very lonely with your own idea. But now you can share your idea, your confidence grows, and hopefully grow with it and grow along with it. So
yeah, well, I've seen YouTube. Go on to YouTube, guys, and have a look at it. You can access that through bedleveller.com, but we've seen the views on YouTube go up and up and up. So people are, it's still in its infancy days, but people are becoming aware of it, and they're sharing the videos, and I've seen people making some fantastic comments about it. Everybody's excited, all your mates are on board encouraging it, so that's all good. But this is where the hard yards are right now, and that's marketing it and getting PR and getting publicity and stories out there to generate sales. So pamphlets, brochures, going out physically. What else are you doing to get it out there?
Oh, last week I had the Federal Minister for Innovation or Minister for Education had a look at it at the Emu Plains Training Centre, along with a local member for Lindsay. So once they saw it, I wrote him a letter the other day, an email. Also the member for Lindsay, which is Emu Plains, and also a local member around here. Just trying to get some traction off Mr. Turnbull saying innovation, we want it, so never a better time to be alive in Australia because of innovation, and also training, because if you listen to the government, like, they just bang on about training all the time, training. This is a great training tool. Like, it's not, bricklayer won't use it full time, but it's a great tool to start with, like, in the embryonic training stages. So, well, hopefully I'll see where the government sits with their talk and all their rhetoric in the media, or whether they're
Innovation Nation Australia is.
if they're going to put their hands in their pockets or not, it'd be interesting to see, So
well, he's not, walking the talk, and the Liberals are not walking the talk. There's a lot of rhetoric out there and a lot of banter about Innovation Nation and great ideas, but the proof is getting products to market and executing and making things happen. That's it. You've got to make things happen. And I know that Mark Boris was talking about Gina Reinhardt's book, Red Tape to Red Carpet, about removing all the hurdles that you've got to overcome to try and get your product to market. There's just got to be an easier cut-through process for every innovator, every inventor in Australia, every entrepreneur in Australia to cut through all the bullshit and the red tape and get the product to market, where it creates jobs, it creates, boosts the income, and it really makes Australia a prosperous, country. So that's something that I hope it's going to happen in the next year, 2 years, 5 years, or, ongoing ever more. So we're way behind the eight ball. So that's good. You're reaching out to the government and, the innovation ministers like Wyatt Roy and whoever. You've got to get out to those guys. So, and getting to the grassroots of every bricklayer or apprentice bricklayer in Australia is, another strategy.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's why I've sort of gone to the government, because the government and training, they seem to go hand in hand with the federal government taking TAFE off the states now 4 or 5 weeks ago, and then they shut down half the TAFE in WA. So if you go to a TAFE in New South Wales, because they privatised all the TAFE systems and they can't tender for training as a collective, so they've all got to, and the system's broken in bricklaying. The training system is dead set broken in bricklaying. So the person making the rules up is the federal government. So that's why I thought the federal government, they're the ones making all the rules up. They're the ones who got all the big ideas and say no one else's idea is any good at the moment. I'll annoy them, because we need training of bricklayers. There's a huge shortage of bricklayers in this country. There's a huge shortage of bricklayers in the UK. There's a global shortage of good tradesmen when it comes to bricklaying. For whatever reason, I've got my ideas, because it's hard work. But there's good money in it. It's a good lifestyle if you're a bloke. And it's a rewarding job. It's a highly rewarding job.
So that's going to be pretty critical for the industry of building and construction. If there's a shortage of bricklayers, so being innovative, what's the solution for that, you reckon? For the shortage.
Mate, it's an attitude thing.
It's an
attitude thing that's probably coming from the schools. Where they're encouraging everyone to stay on the year 12, and it's all very easy money, sit behind a keyboard or whatever the issues are, and stay longer at school, go to university, get a HECS debt.
Tech's the big thing now. Everybody wants to be a disruptor and a coder and, jump on the computers, and that's where it's heading. So, back in the old days, being a shearer and being a brickie was a well-respected profession, but now it's still a well-respected profession, but you're just finding that young folk just don't want to become brickies or shearers or whatever, and it's got some big challenges in the industry.
Well, you can't lay bricks with a phone in the hand. A lot of people like to just say they're just
get a selfie as well as you're laying the brick,
I'm getting myself.
So look, I've got this and here's a brick. The selfie industry that we're in. I'm a bit guilty for that, but anyway, so add a bit of humour. So all right, so what else is happening with Bedleveller? Like, where's it at as of today? What's happening?
On my way down to Sydney, and I'll run into a few people, like open up discussions with Brickworks Australia, which are in Austral, and I believe. If you get into architects and the engineers, mainly the architects, and I believe we can make radial bedlevers. So we can do it can't be a mad curve, but it can be a slight curve. And with the Brickworks Australia, like some of their, go on their Facebook page and their website, have a look at some of their products. Like the way they're making the bricks now, they're very expensive, the top end of town, but they're bringing out whole rock from China and they're water cutting it, laser cutting it in the western suburbs of Sydney, so they can make radial bricks. So that's going to take the square aspect out of bricks, because bricks has got a very square dimension to them. But we can start making curves, I believe, for architectural work.
Curved bricks.
Radial bricks. They used to make radial bricks.
What's a radial brick?
It was just a brick with a curve, a natural curve and a brick.
Radial. So, radius, radial, right?
To make radial bricks, and I believe we can make a radial Bedleveller to keep all the bricks clean, both sides, whatever they need to be done. So, just ideas, and you've got to keep thinking maybe in front of your market, and also trying to think outside the square. So, square brick and everything square, so you think, let's think round. So they'll come up with that idea. I don't know if they've thought of it yet, but they've got a letter sitting on their desk somewhere that I'll try and reinforce with them.
Well, it sounds like, just to wrap up here, it sounds like, you've done the hard yards. And how many years now since that flash of genius conception of the idea?
Nearly 3 years.
So it's 3 years to get his product to market. And it's like, the Revenant movie that, Leonardo DiCaprio won just recently an Oscar for. That took 5 years to create, and it's just like Walker's Brewing Company, the entrepreneurial play that I've got at the moment. It's taken me at least 6 years, but 3 years of that is due to beating cancer 3 times and really putting tools down. But it's still going to happen. You've got to be resilient. You've got to be have that unwavering belief that your product's going to come to market. And you've just been down that path for 3 years of going through the highs and the lows and thinking some days, is it really worth it? Am I going to, just give it up and go back to doing something? But congratulations, mate. You've got the product to market. Now you're marketing it. So this is where the fun begins. And then, who knows, 12 months down the track, a year down the track, 2 years down the track, where the product's going to be. Hopefully it's going to be selling, millions and millions around the world.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Just try and find out.
So tell me, just to finish up, a couple of questions. Now you've got this label, an identity as an inventor, something you probably never even thought of 5 years ago.
Absolutely, but I'll probably run off what Stephen Keys taught us, that you're not an inventor, you're a product developer.
Product developer.
Because if you go out and tell yourself, some people who go, good day, I'm Grahame, I'm an inventor, they all think you're the crackers. Inventors have got something, they've got an aura about them, that they're a bit wacky or a bit eccentric, but if you're a product developer, it's probably the more professional handle.
Isn't that interesting? A product developer rather than inventor. It's like, the word entrepreneur back in the 80s when you had all the Bonds and the Christopher Scapes and whatever, like, in Australia, when the word entrepreneur is brought up, straight away, you're either labelled as an unscrupulous person or a drug dealer or whatever, but, the entrepreneur word now is becoming more acknowledged as a respectful, label for somebody that's an ideas person. So, but it's interesting that you say that, you're not an inventor. Stephen Keys says that you're a product developer, and that's what you are, a product developer. So, and you've probably got more products that are going to come out in the future.
So you've invented the product, but now you're developing the product.
That's right. So you invented the product, but now you're developing the product, and then you probably come out with some more products down the track. And that's
so if I'm going to be an inventor again, you have to invent something new to make you an inventor again. But I've already invented this, but now I'm developing it.
That's right.
So your product developer after you're an inventor, so you put the inventor away. Because you're a bit wacky.
Put it back in the cage.
Put it back in the cage.
God, Einstein and Leonardo da Vinci and all those, great inventors and creators, and even Elon Musk and people like that, even Richard Branson's probably been labelled a few times as a nutcase and a cracker and whatever, and Steve Jobs, but, Steve Jobs has a fantastic quote there that's online. I can't remember it, for verbatim or whatever, but it just says that those people that, the normal people see somebody else that's creative or a nutcase, but they're not. They contribute to, society in many, valuable ways. So, just to finish up, mate, looking back on, your journey over the last 3 years, if you were to do anything differently, what would be some of the things that you would do differently? And then I'll ask you the questions of if any other, aspiring product developers out there, or inventor, or whatever, or innovator wants to follow in your footsteps, what's one bit of advice that you would share with them? But let's look back first and let's address the first question. Looking back, what would you have done differently?
I probably wouldn't have jumped in. I probably would have done more homework on the manufacture and the design of it in the early stages. I just got excited and jumped in, and you just saw success everywhere. And I probably got built up with a full sense of hope at that time. So failure and all that, it was just nothing that they were even part of at that stage, but inevitably it was. So there's a lot of research involved, Tony, I believe, in the early stages, And if you've got a good idea, you've got to have someone you can talk to it about, you've got to go to someone who can talk to them, but then you've got to do your research about the manufacture of it, and because every time you go to someone else, there's another margin, and by the time everyone gets a little margin on it, what's left in the pot at the end of the day as well?
Everybody's, in there for a vig, that's for sure. Life is about, someone's getting a vig, that means a slice of the action or a percentage or whatever, but
and just sort of being a bricklayer all my life and knowing nothing else and not being in any other industry, you're playing with an industry like when you start playing the innovative industry and manufacturing and marketing and all these other different industries, you don't know who's who in the zoo. So as I found that, you've got to be very wary, and you've just got to try and find a couple of people you can talk to and trust, and have a yarn to them. And, everyone will throw you ideas, but at the end of the day, you're the idea and the butt stops with you at the end of the day. So
yeah, I know from our conversations and that sort of stuff, hopefully there were some things that I shared with you in our conversations that definitely helped you on the journey, and that's what it's about. I don't profess to know everything, but the thing is my belief is that, if you're an entrepreneur, an innovator, or an inventor, that you just got to be open to the possibilities that, there's other things out there that you don't know, so you just got to become educated, and the more educated and the more aware you are, it does help. It's not going to be, the life insurance package that's going to rescue you if the shit hits the fan, but as long as you know more knowledge about it, because the thing is, you're going to fail. You're going to fail forward, and you learn from your failure, and you just reframe that failure into something that's going to turn it into a success, and then you just keep moving forward, and that's what you've got to do. So
I think identifying your product's a big thing. Identifying your product in a realistic way, because obviously you're a fan of your own product, it's your idea. If you're not a fan of your own idea, well, you may as well just leave it behind.
Got to believe in it.
Yeah, honestly, and then identify your product and identify the market. And that's quite difficult. For some products it is, and every product's going to be completely different. But I'd recommend, to a lot of people, I've got a lot of strength, a lot of knowledge, although a lot of it's good for Australia, but some of it isn't. You go onto the Inventor YouTube station and listen to some of their webinars and some of their footing, and you can go through. They've got hundreds of things on there and you can just identify, right, having a problem with that part of it, and they'll walk you through it. So
well, I hope to be doing the same thing in Australia as a vet, right? And, we're all there, helping innovators and entrepreneurs bring their ideas to market. So just two things, when you're at that point where, and I've got a fascination for this, when you felt like, I'm going to chuck it all in, it's just not going to happen. How did you reframe that? How did you turn that around to keep on that path of, taking one step forward and another step forward rather than giving up? What was it? Self-talk, what was it that sort of, how did you stay in the game? And taking yourself out of the game?
It just wouldn't leave me.
It just wouldn't leave you.
So what I've got on my papers, I've got this old 1960s, 1970s school case sort of thing, briefcase, level 1 and clippings in it. That's all my patents and stuff and sitting in there, So this is a funny yarn. I went into the business bank manager of the Commonwealth Bank, and I organised a meeting with him and that. So I just walked in there and I had this real old thing, and I said to the bank manager, I said, mate, I've got a patent in here. I said, can you give me a value on a patent, please? He hunted me out as if I was an idiot. I'm like, but hang on, I'm going to a banker. Right. Will you fund me on an idea? Have you got any? No, they won't fund you. They won't fund you.
So you said to the bank manager, here's my patent, put a value on the patent, and you just sort of went, wow, funded you out.
I was about 2.5 to 3 minutes in the office, and he hunted me out. One of them locked door ones down the street here. He walked me down the stairs and pushed me onto the street almost.
Really?
Full ball.
Gee, you should have locked him out.
But no, it just stayed there. So you'd see the briefcase there, and you'd look at and you'd look at it, and stay there for a while longer. But when it really got traction was midway through last year, when I went down to Sydney. I was able to run into Opie, and I could see the way to manufacture it. I could see a lot more. I could run into people I could really trust.
Yeah.
Fellas I could trust, and I'd already gained myself a bit of knowledge about it all, through your recommendations in the States. So I think a lot of self-confidence about knowing where you are with a product. I'm looking at it almost like an apprenticeship. It took me 4 years to do a bricklaying apprenticeship, and I'm still learning about the game now after 35.
Yeah, apprenticeship.
And I've only done 3 years in product development, so I haven't done very long.
Yeah.
So I'm still very junior at the game, and it's good to think you're a junior at the game, because that just increases your learning and what else is out there, and it keeps you on your toes.
And you've got the product out there, mate. Fair play to you. It's there.
Yeah.
The concept and the ideas come to reality. It's in its physical form. It's there. Now you just got to go out and market it. So, all right, just to close, what's one thing that you would say to an aspiring inventor or product developer that wants to follow in your footsteps? What's one thing that you would say to them today?
Yeah, research.
Good question, mate. Good question.
Research.
All right.
Yep. Research your idea.
Yeah.
It's no good if you've got a good idea, or you think it's a good idea, if you research it and someone else really got it out there, you're wasting your brain cells. You've got to think about something else.
Yeah.
So you've got to research your idea, And then the more you research your idea, if no one else has got that idea, and then you've got a good idea.
Yeah.
But if you haven't researched your idea, it's already out there, you're wasting time.
Yeah.
Especially when you go to the IP, intellectual property side of it, you know you're wasting time because you're not going to get traction.
Yeah.
You know, or depends what product field you're in, you know, because some things you don't need a patent for. You can just smash the market.
Yeah.
You know. It all depends. But research, I believe research is big.
Yeah, that's another thing too, is, you know, patents are not to be the end all, you know, there's plenty of things. Getting your product to market, you know, is one thing. Getting it out there massively, you know, you can still get leverage and protection, you know, by getting your product out there to market. So, you know, we'll end this. We're up to 55 minutes now, mate. So much for 30 minutes.
Yeah,
We could probably speak for another hour or so, but so I'll just close by you know, something that sort of came to mind over the last few weeks with the Molly Meldrum TV show on here in Australia. At the end of each, well, in his countdown shows, he used to say these words like, "Do yourself a favour," and what is it? "Do yourself a favour and get out there and buy it." So that's it, you know. And like, I haven't got a Bedleveller here to put it
I
up.
should have bought one in there. Put Molly Meldrum and the Bedleveller together. That's pretty cool.
Mate, there's a thing getting saying, you know, do yourself a favour and get out and buy one of these. So what I'm saying to you guys is that, you know, this has been a great video. Share the video to your friends, bricklayers that you may know of, or anybody that's mad home improvements person or whatever, and do yourself a favour and get and buy one of the Bedlevellers at bedleveller.com. So it's bedleveller.com. And mate,
Thank you very much, Dave.
thanks. I didn't say this up front. We've known each other for quite some time, old school mates here in Orange, and you know, we've spent time overseas, haven't we, in London? I remember, you know what, I went across to Perth there many years ago, but I don't know whether, I think I stayed at your place or came to see you guys there. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah.
I think we had 27 people camping out past that one time. So backyards in the front yard, combi vans in the tents in the backyard, combi vans in the front yard.
Yeah, we're both gypsy souls, so we love to travel. We've travelled around the world, and, you know, cross paths over there and stuff like that. But that's our history. We're good mates, and you know, supporting each other along our different paths. So anyway, guys, I hope that was you know, informative for you, and you got something out of it. So just go out there and make it happen. So cheerio, guys.
Yeah, thanks very much, Tony.
That's all right, mate.
Good. All the best.
Right, yeah.
Cheers.